Hello everyone, welcome to our instructional video for our Lucky Stars activity kit. These are really fun little origami stars. You can find tutorials for them all over the internet. So if a video tutorial is not the best way for you to learn, you can find photos and instructions that are drawings, all kinds of ways to learn how to make these. And once you know what you're doing, they're really easy and really fun. So we made sure to give you lots of strips of colorful paper. You can also make these with just about any kind of paper. What you want is strips that are about 1/2 inch wide, maybe a little bit bigger. The pieces of paper we gave you are more like 1 inch, so you might want to trim those down. Wider pieces are going to make bigger stars, thinner pieces are going to make smaller stars. And you want them to be fairly even all the way down. You don't want there to be like squiggles or one end wider than the other. So I recommend using a ruler or another kind of straight edge to make sure that you get a nice straight line when you are cutting these down. So let's get started. I'm going to start with this piece because I think, oh no, that doesn't show up well. Scratch that, start again. I'm gonna start with this piece because it shows up well against the table and it's got a white side and a colorful side so that you know which side I'm working on. Some of these sheets we gave you have color on both sides and that's fine. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to start at one end of your strip of paper. You're going to make a loop and you're basically tying a knot in your paper. So you want one short end coming out of your knot and one long end, and the paper goes over and through the loop. And then you tighten that down carefully until you can fold it flat. And when you fold it flat, it's easier to see on this side, and you take this short tail and fold it and tuck it in, you have, ta-ta-ta, if you can see it, you have a pentagon here. So you've got a flat edge here, here, and here, and you're going to make one here in just a second. You want these edges to be about the same width, and you want them to be about the same width as your paper. So it might take a little bit of practice to get this nice and neat. That's okay. You're going to take the long end, this tail here, and you're going to fold it over, and what you're going to do is aim for the edge across from the one you're working with. So this is next to it, this is next to it. You skip this one and you go to this one. So I'm going to fold this, so now I've got a flat edge here, I'm going to go along this edge next to it to this one, flip it over, and I'm going to do the same thing now here, and instead we're going to go along this edge to this edge, ta-da, and you keep on wrapping it around like that, going across one edge to the next one and folding it over, and eventually you'll have a nice pentagon, and you'll probably have a little bit of a tail left. What you can do is just what you did with the short tail at the beginning. You tuck it in. If it's not long enough to stay, you can unwrap one layer. Like this is, I don't think it's going to stay very well, so I'm going to unwrap this. I'm going to stick this tail in here. Ta-da. And I'll bring this closer so you can see there's a little V here where I crossed over the last two folds. I'm just gonna stick my tail under that V and slide it along. And before I do that, you should do this with scissors, but I forgot mine. So I'm just gonna make this a little bit shorter so that it doesn't get stuck like it was. And ta-da! And now you have a pentagon of folded paper. Now how, you may say, do you make this into a star? Well, you're gonna take it and you're gonna put your thumbs here on the bottom. You're gonna put your one finger here on this top edge and one finger here on this top edge, and you're gonna squeeze. Oh no, it's crushing. All right, you're gonna turn it and you're gonna do the same thing again, and you're eventually gonna pinch out all the corners and pinch folds into the middle of all the sides. You end up usually with a, if you can keep it all tucked together, star. And that is the hardest part. As you can see, sometimes the paper doesn't do what you want it to do. I'm gonna go through that whole series again, just so you can see again what I did now that you've seen the whole process once and the end result. All right, I'm gonna go with, no, that's wider. All right, I'm gonna go with this one. So I've got a gray side and a pink and gray side. Hopefully this shows up pretty well. I want this pink and gray side out, so I'm gonna make a loop with that on the outside and tuck my short end through that loop. And then I'm going to tighten it down, tighten, tighten. And flatten it. And take my little tail here, tuck it in. And as you can see, my pentagon is starting to show up. Turn it over and fold this flat up along this side. Turn it over, fold it up along this side. Turn it over, this side. Turn it over, this side. Go that way, turn it over, up that way. Ta-da! Pentagon. I'm gonna tuck this in to that V that we made. And now again, this is the harder part. You can also put one finger on each side and push them all in at once. It's a little bit harder to control. Usually what I do is I pinch one corner at a time. Pinch, 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 and pinch. And there you have it. Ta-da! A star. So like I said, there are lots of other tutorials online. If a video wasn't super helpful, you can find tutorials with pictures and diagrams and stuff like that. Any paper is pretty good for this. I tend to like a paper that's a little bit heavier because, as you saw with this one, thinner, lighter paper tends to crush a little bit when you start to pop out your little points for your star. What you can do with these is pretty much endless. I know people who glue them to magnets and make little magnets. I know people who kind of thread them on strings and use them kind of like beads for mobiles and other hanging decorations. You can fill a little glass container with them. It's all up to you. I hope you enjoy making lucky stars, and I will see you next time. Bye!